Today on the Morning Edition, prayers from home. The Catholic community unites after a former Fairbanks priest is kidnapped in Africa, and they're hoping faith will bring him home. Plus, digging deep in Seward, where soil is scarce and the seasons are short. One community is turning a challenge into a chance to grow. And later, only in Alaska, a mother moose and her calf steal the spotlight in Eagle River. Caught on camera just outside someone's window. We'll show you the video that has neighbors watching from a safe distance as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone on this Wednesday. I mean, it never gets old seeing a moose and her calf, a mama and her calf out.
Probably just, scourging out the neighborhood, trying to find some dinner.
Yeah, they're hungry.
And we are waking up this morning. We've got those rain showers that are continuing to steadily build back in across South Central. Now, yesterday, Anchorage managed to stay a lot drier, and that's largely due to our downsloping winds that we did see. Now, with that said, we did hold on to some of those rain showers through parts of the valley. Of course, the heaviest activity we did see yesterday occurred across the Kenai as well as Prince William Sound. But winds are dying down this morning, and that is going to lead to that steady rain that we were talking about yesterday building in across South Central throughout the day. And those temperatures are sitting in the mid-40s. You can see winds remaining fairly calm. With that said, we'll still see that potential for winds of about 15 to 20 miles per hour across South Central today, but nowhere near those windy conditions we saw yesterday. Notice that widespread rain we've got on the radar this morning. To start off the day, we've already got some rain in Wasilla, coastal regions beginning to see some of that rain. Elsewhere, we are going to begin to see this rain becoming steady at times through the afternoon hours. We're really going to see this rain sticking around through a good portion of the day into our Thursday morning before we do see that drier weather making a return. So be prepared for today to be a wet one and less windy across a good portion of South Central. You can see so far this morning we've seen anywhere from a few hundredths of an inch to about 2/10 of an inch of rain, with most of that impacts occurring out towards coastal regions, largely on the drier side for inland areas. But unlike yesterday, we will tap into that rainfall potential as that becomes steadier today as those winds continue to die down. And notice that rain stays with us into the afternoon, evening hours, and then gradually tapers off as we welcome in your Thursday morning. So coming up in my full forecast, we'll be talking more about that rain, how much we can see, but drier weather does arrive by week's end. We do have an overall cooler weather trend this week, but summer warmth, it does look possible into next week. I'll have those details in that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
Father Alphonsus and two companions who were traveling with him were ambushed along the road, and that Father Alphonsus was taken captive.
Now, this morning's top story, this man, a former Fairbanks priest, has been kidnapped while on a humanitarian mission in Nigeria. We have the latest from the diocese, but we will get to that story in just a moment. First, some developing news overnight from the Aleutians. The Coast Guard is responding to a fire on board a 600-foot cargo ship. It's called Midas. It's burning right now about 300 miles southwest of Adak. Details are limited, but here's what we know so far. The ship has 22 crew members on board, and the Coast Guard says they're actively fighting the fire themselves. No injuries have been reported. 3 other vessels are on scene helping, while the Coast Guard cutter and air crews are racing to the area. The website Vessel Finder identifies the Morning Midas as a car carrier owned by a London company designed to transport up to 6,000 vehicles. The cause of the fire is still unknown, but vehicle carriers have faced fire risks recently, especially when transporting electric vehicles with lithium-ion batteries. Turning back now to today's top story. On Sunday, the Catholic Diocese of Fairbanks confirmed that Reverend Alphonsus Afina and 2 companions were kidnapped while traveling in Nigeria. The group was reportedly taken by members of Boko Haram, a designated terrorist organization, since 2013. Reverend Afina previously served for 6.5 years in Alaska, working in remote communities on the Seward Peninsula. He returned to Nigeria to help develop a trauma center for survivors of extremist violence. The diocese received the news over the weekend and is staying in contact with church leaders in Nigeria as the situation unfolds. There was a mass last night so the community could pray for Reverend Afina's safe release. No new details have been released about his condition or the status of the others taken.
The turnout was absolutely amazing. We put word out yesterday, and in less than 24 hours, we had a couple hundred people gathered at the cathedral here in Fairbanks for a mass to pray for Father Alphonsus, other victims of the Boko Haram, that they'd be given strength and, God willing, that they would be released back to us to continue their mission.
No other information about Reverend Afina's condition has been made public since Sunday. A Denali National Park spokesperson says high winds and snow have postponed a search for a missing ski mountaineer. Missing is a 41-year-old man who fell from the west buttress near a spot known as Squirrel Point. The fall sent him toward Peters Glacier, a 3,000-foot drop of exposed ice and rock. 2 other mountaineers in his group tried to reach him but could not find or hear him. They made it down to camp, one to alert rangers.
It's windy and it's snowing, and so we have not been able to actually do any search on the ground or in the air at this point. Still gathering information and waiting for the weather to clear enough.
The search will resume when conditions allow. Stay on top of the search on our website at alaskasnewssource.com. The man accused in a 2005 Anchorage sexual assault cold case is now on trial for a different crime. 58-year-old Guy Nelson is charged with failing to register as a sex offender in both 2003 and 2022, a requirement from a 1996 sexual assault conviction. Nelson, seen here, is representing himself in court this week. Prosecutors say his parole in that 96 case, he assaulted a woman in 2005 after leaving a bar, driving her off the Glen Highway near the Fort Rich exit. That case went cold for years until DNA evidence identified him in 2023. His next hearing in the cold case is set for August, while this week's trial on registration violations is expected to last 1 week. Monica Marshall of Anchorage is now facing 73 counts of animal neglect. Court documents filed this week link the 47-year-old to what officials call an extreme case of dog hoarding. Anchorage Animal Care and Control says more than 70 dogs were found living in, quote, unimaginable conditions back in May. At last check, 33 of the 71 dogs were still being cared for at the city's shelter. Marshall is scheduled to be arraigned on July 23rd. And the Alaska Sustainable Energy Conference, it kicked off this week in Anchorage with high-profile speakers from the Trump administration joining Governor Mike Dunleavy. Secretaries Doug Burgum and Chris Wright, along with EPA Chief Lee Zeldin, took center stage to outline the administration's energy goals. At a press conference, Burgum said President Trump wants to fast-track a natural gas pipeline in Alaska and expand domestic mining of rare earth minerals. Wright added that a federal loan for the project could be on the table through the Department of Energy.
I think it's quite likely that you will see loan guarantees provided by the Loan Program Office at the Department of Energy to build the pipeline part of that project.
Earlier in the day, Glenfarne, the majority owner and lead developer of the Alaska LNG project, announced that foreign and domestic companies have expressed interest worth more than $115 billion, but some oil and gas experts remain skeptical.
They're always 20 years from now, they say, hey, if you get that together, give me a call. No, I don't think interest doesn't go. Look, I'm 74. I'm still interested in being a major league pitcher. It doesn't go away till you die, but it becomes less and less likely.
Environmentalists have criticized the energy conference as promoting new oil and gas drilling and turning away from the climate crisis. You can hear from them directly on our website and mobile app. In Fairbanks, new results from the annual Business Climate Survey show growing economic uncertainty across the interior. While many organizations expressed optimism for 2024, concerns are rising for 2025, especially in key sectors like healthcare, construction, and energy. Business leaders cited state and federal instability as major sources of concern, but Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation CEO Jomo Stewart says this level of uncertainty is nothing new for interior Alaska.
Again, on the state level for state funding, that has had a cascading effect down onto our local economy, our local government. And then, of course, again, we have a fairly high degree of uncertainty relative to the federal government and how and exactly how and to what degree it's going to participate to support the national economy.
Nearly 200 for-profit and nonprofit organizations took part in the survey, which was conducted both before and after the tariff announcement on April 2nd. Still to come, no soil, no problem. How one woman's vision is now blooming into a thriving space for food, friendship, and first-time farmers.
Still holding on to some of that rain across South Central, which will become steady at times throughout the day with those winds dying down. I'll have more on that and how much rain we can see. But first at sunrise, 4:30 in Anchorage, 3:58 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Back on your Wednesday, the University of Alaska Museum of the North is bringing science to life with a new interactive exhibit. It's launched over Memorial Day weekend. Visitors can explore satellite imagery and research on permafrost, volcanoes, and earthquakes with hands-on features like touchscreens, mini antennas, and moving glaciers. Built in partnership with the Alaska Satellite Facility, the exhibit highlights how data collected in Fairbanks is helping scientists around the globe.
This kind of research happens in Fairbanks for a very good reason. It has to do with the mechanics of satellite passing nearby the pole and how to collect this data down using the antennas here on the ground. So it really, that was really a big take home early on for me, is that, oh, this shows why Fairbanks is important to this research, not just that the research is important to the world.
According to UAF, the exhibit remains open and will run through the 2026 New Year's holiday. And if you're making plans to get out and about on this Wednesday, Aaron, what is our check of weather?
Well, we do have that rain that's going to steadily build back in across South Central. We've kind of been stuck in a fall pattern for really, it seems like several months now, as we were largely absent from South Central any significant winter. And we are going to continue to see those temperatures today, likely staying in the 40s, if not some lower 50s across South Central. But you can see those rain showers, they will steadily increase through the afternoon into the evening hours. And those winds, they are also dying down across South Central. And that's going to allow for inland areas to see a better chance for that rain. There's that area of low pressure building up the Alaska Peninsula this morning. We've got some widespread rain out towards Kodiak, although Kodiak will see this rain coming to an end by the afternoon hours. And when we look to our south, we do have a ridge of high pressure in the Pacific Ocean. This is helping squeeze moisture into South Central. And we're going to continue to see this moisture not only funneling into the region, but leading to some very heavy rainfall out towards coastal regions where we could see the potential for a couple of inches of rain accumulation. This will also lead to the return to some rain out towards southeast later today and into your Thursday. So you can see through the remainder of today out towards Kodiak, you can see by the afternoon hours that rain quickly comes to an end, building inland across South Central. Not expecting much in the way of dry breaks today. Once that rain starts, it likely will stick around for a good portion of the day. We may see an hour or two where we do hold on to some drier weather, but the overall trend really favoring wet conditions today. And then notice overnight into tomorrow, we begin to see that activity gradually tapering off. We could see some lingering showers throughout the day Thursday, but largely expecting a lot drier weather. And we'll see some sunshine breaks as the week draws to a close, and we'll see those temperatures steadily warming back into the mid to upper 50s. With that said, we'll still keep the chance of some isolated to scattered showers around through the weekend, but largely expecting some dry conditions, or at least drier weather across South Central, and the return to some much needed sunshine as well. Notice that trend across coastal regions where we could easily pick up roughly 1 to about 2.5 inches of rainfall here over the next couple of days, while western parts of South Central see the potential for up to about 1/2 inch of rainfall. So we'll be watching for some of that heavier rain building in throughout the day and into our overnight hours. We'll see temperatures today warming right around the upper 40s, lower 50s. While the winds have died down, we could still see some gust here in Anchorage up to 15 miles per hour. Palmer could see those winds gusting up to 25 miles per hour. And then, of course, portions of the Copper River Basin could also see some of those breezy conditions. So rain comes to an end this morning across Kodiak. As a result, you will see some warmer weather, 57 degrees for you elsewhere. Those upper 40s and lower 50s look likely through the day. You can see winds up to 25 miles per hour through Prince William Sound, while Golcana sees those winds up to 30 miles per hour. Largely on the dry side for the Copper River Basin, but we can't rule out some isolated showers into the evening hours. A good chunk of the day will remain on the dry side. And of course, that rain building in across the valley, which will keep temperatures on the cooler side as well. But we're still going to see some breezy conditions out towards Palmer with winds up to 25 miles per hour. Into tomorrow, practically all of South Central, we'll see a lot quieter conditions in terms of those winds. 51 in Anchorage today, 43 degrees out towards Girdwood. So those cooler conditions do remain with us. But check out next week as we begin to see those warmer conditions. 58 Monday, 60 degrees Tuesday. And it's looking promising that as we continue to progress through next week, we could see a stretch of some 60s. Mid-60s do look possible through parts of next week. Of course, we got to get through this week, but giving you an early sign that we could see the final, we could officially see the return of some summer weather.
Excuse me, all right. Well, gardening in Seward is no easy task. From rocky ground to windy weather, Tracy Sinclair has a story.
Many Alaskan communities have different challenges when it comes to gardening. Short seasons, cold nights, and in the case of Seward, not enough dirt.
We don't really have soil here in Seward. It's like gravel.
When Callie Bacon moved to Seward in 2011, she says it was difficult to get fresh organic produce.
I really thought for a long time, like, the reason I'm going to move away is because there's no ability to grow food.
Here's the challenge. Seward is on an alluvial fan. This is created from sediment being washed down from the mountains and fanned out. It means there's no depth to the soil.
It's really hard to grow food in Seward, right? Like, most people do not have soil that's suitable for growing at their house. And so the community garden becomes that place for a lot of people.
Seward Community Garden by the Bay provides 30 plots for members to plant.
This is my first time ever growing anything.
Like first-time gardener Dominic Jurassic.
I just like the idea of knowing where your food comes from. I think it's just cool to know that we planted these as little seeds like they are in my hand, and then you get to see it grow, and then you water it and you reap your own rewards. I like the idea of that.
As a member of the community garden, you get soil that's tested and amended each year and educational opportunities to learn how to grow more.
Well, there's definitely been a lot of trial and error over the years. Seward is not the sunniest or the driest. It is pretty windy in this location a lot, and so what we can grow well is definitely dictated by our local climate.
Cold climate produce seems to do the best.
We're just trying to do the easiest stuff, so then we're excited about it next year, and then we can come back and kind of build on that and try a little bit harder stuff.
When we envisioned this community garden, we were really looking to create a gathering space. So a place where people could share knowledge, they can just come and enjoy the beauty and peacefulness of the space. And then in addition to that, have a supportive environment to grow their own food. And, going into year 9, I really feel like we found success with that. We have a really thriving gardening community, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Tracy Sinclair, Alaska's News Source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's News Source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's News Source app.